I had this English teacher, and his name was Derek Wilson. And I think he might have been an alcoholic, but he was really, really good at his job. He was an incredible English teacher. And I went to a school called Walden, named after Thoreau, the great American author. And I have to come clean. I never finished Walden. I read most of it, and it was life-changing. I didn't want to read all of it in one go and dilute it, and so I split it up. And at this moment, standing here, I have not finished it. It's on my bookshelf. This was in high school. I'm 25 now, so I still haven't finished it. But I have picked it up many times and gone back over my favorite chapter of all, the bean field. Now, the bean field is an account of Thoreau planting a bean field for money. He lists his expenses, the beans he bought, he planted them. He talked about weeding and killing worms. Back then they thought worms were bad. I don't know if you know this. And so he would kill worms and till and weed. And he grew beans, and he found it to be a chore and boring. And he thought beans were a stubby, maybe quaintly ugly vegetable. He called them vegetables, which they are. They're vegetable matter. And he complained a lot about the bean field. But it made him the income that he needed to build a little cabin in the woods. And when I read the part of Walden that I did, and I was in a class with Derek called Walden, or Life in the Woods. And it was a study of the book, more or less. And you had to do a project. There wasn't that much homework, but you had to do a project related to Walden or Life in the Woods. And the project I chose was to plant beans, obviously, because it just made me laugh a lot. You got to read the bean field sometime, chapter in Walden. And it made me chuckle a lot. And I said, I got to plant beans. And there was a trash can in my backyard full of rotting organic material. Classic stuff, leaves, etc. When I dumped it out, it smelled so foul. I probably gagged a dozen times. And there were plumes of, I want to call it goby, some kind of bacterial, fleshy, fermentation-like substance. It was foul and vinegary, so vinegary. But also another layer of foul beyond the kind of sting of vinegar. And I took this trash can and dumped it on the garden patch that was overrun with weeds. And I remember I weeded it with a hoe that I later on broke and then fixed by just making it a short handle hoe. But I weeded it with a hoe and a shovel, flipped all the dirt over, dumped all of this rotting organic material on it, spread it out, planted beans, planted 2 tomatoes, and also planted some sugar snap peas. And the sugar snap peas is the only thing that really did well, and only briefly. I live in Utah, so it was a hot summer and killed all of them. But it was a formative experience for me. And after high school, I was working in IT, call center. I even took on the accent. Hello, this is Isaiah. And I was fixing old people's computers remotely. I didn't take on the accent, okay? As funny as it is, I don't culturally appropriate. Anyways, I was working in a call center fixing old people's computers remotely, and I was so depressed. And eating crumble cookies a lot. I don't know if you know what these things are. They're an abomination. And they're a little fun sometimes. But I was eating crumble cookies a lot. They were catered daily at my call center. And so was sugary cereal. Knockoff Frosted Flakes. The good stuff. Luckily, they didn't have Fruity Pebbles, or I would be 100 pounds heavier right now. Because something about whatever chemical they put in Fruity Pebbles to make it fruity makes me fruity for Fruity Pebbles. Anyhow, I was depressed. I was getting fat. I quit impulsively without lining up a new job. It's one of my favorite moves. I'm currently in that process right now, running out of money rapidly, scrambling to find a new job. The first paycheck lands after you needed it. Still do that. I'm 25, I still do that. I was 19 then. Anyhow, I went to work at the garden center, the greenhouse. One of my neighbors was one of the owners of the greenhouse, local greenhouse garden center, and it was one of the best things I ever did in my life. I picked cucumbers and pumpkins and squash. You know, man, for all the racial tension in this country, I gotta say, man, I pick cucumbers slower than Mexicans. And one day I think I could maybe get as fast as them, but I was 19 and flabby, and it's hard to pick cucumbers. It really hurts. They're spiky, and so are their leaves. And squash, picking pumpkins is back-breaking labor. Just awful. So, but it was joyful. Yeah, it was life-changing. Doesn't mean I want to do it forever. I'm running for Congress, obviously. And I think I would be a lot stupider if I hadn't bent over and picked cucumbers and just been, oh, the pain, man. I threw out my shoulder at that job, dumping heavy trash cans full of dirt into the dumpster. And man, I woke up every day with pain in my shoulder. It still isn't the same. And if you watch any of the videos where I'm lifting and you go, this guy doesn't even lift heavy. This is not our gym bro congressman like we asked for. I hurt my shoulder when I was 19. I am a victim. And when I worked at Cook's, I bought so many plants. Oh, I just outed them. Well, maybe it'll help them get more plants. They're a local business, family run, family owned. Their kids work there. It is one of the most beautiful families, nurseries, small business experiences you could ever have in Utah. Cook's Farm and Greenhouse. God, I love those people. And the illegals I worked with, of which there were only a handful, and a lot were, I think, like approved migrant workers or permanent residents that had legitimate permission to work in the US. Regardless, Cook's was, man, it was blissful, it was paradise. Paid $14 an hour, so peanuts. But just lovely people and lovely work. Sweating in a greenhouse. If you've ever been in an industrial greenhouse when it's 100 degrees outside and they're still putting seedlings in, 100% humidity indoors, 110 degrees, just to get them to germinate, just to coax those plants out of the soil. You know, I've been to Mexico. I've been almost nowhere else very hot except for Portugal when I walked the Camino. But I've been hot places and I've sweated a lot. But in the greenhouse is where I learned how to sweat. And all of this to say that while I worked at the greenhouse, I planted a lot of gardens. And it's not a cost-effective way to live if you count your money, if you count your hours in dollars. It might not be even a cost-effective way to live if you count your dollars in dollars instead of pesos. But gardening, regardless, pays some sort of dividend that I cannot explain any other way than saying it's worth it. And it's December in Utah, and I could unzip my coat right now and it would be cozy. And the air is saturated with carbon dioxide. And these plants are humming along like nobody's business. My pine trees have recovered since that renter stopped watering them. Come on, come on. The lawn is green, look at this. Don't look at where I am. Oh my goodness, the lawn is green. The shed, oh my goodness. And right back here, you can see, oh, sorry. Good morning. You see the line? Green grass. Ooh, it gets a little dirt. Pine tree, too much shade. But all of this area, all of this shall be yours one day, son. That's what my father told me. He meant it. He meant it. And all of that to really say that even though I took a brief hiatus, whenever my mom told me, Isaiah, when are you going to weed the gardens? And it's like, it's time once again. It's time to plant a garden. What a task. It just brings the European out of me. Looking at my crops, little rows. Seeing a flower bloom and turn into a fruit. The Israeli planes are flying over me again. I better cut this short. Plant a garden. Hardman for Congress. End video.